Hello and welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, July the 31st, and it is the last day of our beautiful month or summer of July of 2024. So I just, you know, was finished talking to my students online and in person about the things that are going to be coming up for the next week. So I'm going to go over some of the details of that officially. So it's recorded and you're all aware of what's happening. So welcome back, and let's share my screen now, and I'm going to cover everything that we have to do for today. So here we go. And my screen is being shared, right? So first of all, the videos are all up to date, okay? Second, I hope your group assignments and collaboration is doing well with your partners. Let me know if there's any type of situations. Things always happen, so I'm always here to help you guys if you need anything. The third thing is next week, Wednesday, I have to move the class a little earlier because I won't be here in the evening time. So I think I'm going to launch the class at 12 p.m. Okay. 12 p.m. Now, if some of you have to get here for Sheila's class, I don't know if she's going to be in person or on virtual. Maybe she'll do it virtually next week, right? So then you guys can stay home next week. You can just do your class with me at 12 and then have Sheila at 3. Okay. So 12 o'clock, I'm going to book it right now on my phone. So I know it's 12 o'clock. We have the actual makeup class, okay? All right. So 12 p.m. makeup class, perfect. All right. And lastly, I wanted to today to take a moment to actually go through a whole process of, starting like an actual build of a reverse engineering situation of an app. Obviously, the Olympics is the most exciting thing that's happening right now this summer. So I don't know if you've had a chance to download the Paris Olympics app. I think they did a pretty decent job. If you even if you're not into the Olympics, it's a pretty cool interactive way to learn how things are done. Pretty much to the modern days of today, and some augmented reality they implemented into the app as well. So I encourage you all to download the app so you can kind of see where we're going with today's lesson. We're going to do a very simple approach. Obviously, to build this app, we'll need a lot more time and dedication, but on the surface, we can definitely bang off some of the original details and concepts. With that, I wanted to also introduce some advanced interactive components and methods that you can add to your arsenal and to your current project that you're working on with your partners. All right, so so let's get started now. I'm going to go ahead and show you exactly what we set off to do before I started hitting the record button. Um, Also, I wanted to give you another link for interactive components because I did find a few nice tutorials online, especially this one over here I wanted to share with you. In our variance video. This one here I wanted to share with you. So I want you to watch these videos. These are from Figma. These are the official Figma tutorials, okay? So basically, when they make something new, even we have to obviously go and see what these guys did. They're very nice tutorials, okay? They're professionally made. Of course, they're from the developers. So we'll actually share with you this link for you to watch maybe when you have some more time to learn some stuff on your own, okay? So I'm definitely going to put that under the resources tab here, okay? So I'm just going to add a new link for you right now. Maybe I'll create an actual link. And I'm going to call this one Figma Advanced Tutorials. Well, there's basic ones as well, but these are some of the nice ones that you can please watch this. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and post this right now, and we're going to make sure that link. So it's on the bottom over here. If you want to go ahead and click on it, it'll take you to the Figma interactive components. This one's 8 minutes long, but it's something that you don't have to include this in your current project, but it's good to know going forward when you do more advanced stuff, okay? Because this was all the
In our variance video, we have different interaction to create interactive components on our tag or cursor. Change to is our search filter box. Our smart animation
Yeah, I think that's the correct one. And there's other ones as well, okay? Variants, interactive variants, tutorials, all these things that you need to know in order to do more advanced or take advantage of the latest Figma capabilities, okay? All right, so that's that there, right? I'm also going to make an announcement for next week's class. So it is going to be um, at 12 p.m. on Wednesday. So same time, sorry, same day, different time next week. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead now and see where we're at with this, with the resources today. Since we're doing the Summer Olympics app setup, I got some resources here to use. We downloaded the Olympic rings logo. We also looked at how savvy the designers were to make that French looking style mannequin face with the hairstyle and the lips and stuff with the flame, and very nice creative way to make a logo for the Paris Olympics. Also, we have some of the more splash screens. I think this is an older one, but it's there anyways. Some more Olympic athletes that we can utilize for our design methods, some other athletes as well. And so you can just download any images that pertain to the Olympics theme, okay, in this folder here, just so we have some resources to work with, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and set up a basic app. And I'm looking at the app right now on my phone, so I can basically mimic their exact approach and design. So we kind of have to see how these guys went about designing this app. Obviously, we can't mimic every possible technical stuff because like augmented reality and stuff, these are functionalities built into the app from a developer standpoint. As designers, we can't really do that, but we can mimic some of the effects or pretend that we can actually go ahead and utilize these features. So we're mostly concerned about the interface design and the user experience design of the app. Okay, so I'm looking at it right now. I see 5 buttons on the bottom. I see 2 buttons at the top. I see the Olympic logo at the top corner here with a lot of images swiping back and forth. Primarily, when I opened the app from the very beginning, if you see it, has like a basic animation of the 2 French birds, one carrying a flag, one carrying like a magnaphone about the Olympics, and then the loading screen comes up and it shows up the app. Okay, so let's go ahead and open Figma. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start that up. Right. I'm gonna go ahead and create a new file. Okay. So I'm gonna click on this new tab icon. We're gonna create a new design file. All right. And just to show you some of the other things are, the FigJam board is good for collaboration. The only problem is I think if you have like the free trial version, it might not let you use that. This is why I wasn't too foretelling about how that works. But by all means, it's just a collaboration tool. If you want to explore with it, go ahead. Okay, if it helps you guys. If not, you can just all work on the same file and just share that way as well. Okay. The new slide deck, it's like a PowerPoint presentation feature. This is a beta version. It just came out. It's pretty cool. It just gives you different type of templates to create slideshows. But all in all, honestly, the program is still revolves around the interactive prototyping file, which is the design file. So we're going to go ahead and click on that one and start a new file to begin with, right? And the first thing we're going to do is set up like an actual smartphone design artboard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use the frame tool for that, right? And we're going to go ahead and pick a different iPhone setting. I'm going to go with the latest one, which is iPhone 14, 15 Pro Max. So right away we get like an iPhone board up here. All right. And if we're going to create like an actual prototype for this, we do have, this is called page 1 here. Okay. So page 1 is going to be another thing that I'm going to compare XD to Figma. XD doesn't have pages. Okay. It has layers, has assets, it has plugins and stuff. It doesn't have widgets, just has the plugins. But it doesn't have pages. And I think pages is really cool because you can actually designate different pages for different sections. A good example of this is something I showed you last week. The coffee app has different pages and assets. Let me just show you that right now as I'm explaining it to you. I'm going to go ahead and leave this open for now. Okay, this untitled here. Let me just name this untitled. Right here. Sometimes you have to click away on the black screen or the blank screen, if whatever color you have on your thing. And where it says untitled here, just give it a quick name. Okay, so I'm going to call this Paris Olympics. Right? So Paris Olympics, that's the name of the file, right? So we can locate it after. Just to show you what I'm talking about these pages and different ways to organize your workflow, right? I'm going to just open up a new tab here, okay, and open up. As a matter of fact, this file is shared with you on Blackboard. So if you go ahead and look at today's lesson, which is down to, oh, by the way, the resources, I did paste this link, the Figma advanced tutorials. It's from the Figma developers, and it's their very own tutorials to show you some of the latest and new features that they have available. So if you go down to the last unit or the second last unit, because next week we're going to talk about usability and testing. We're still into the interaction design principles. So basically over here, you will find under class 1112, it's called the Coffee Shop Mobile App Design. If you download this file, you'll see exactly what I'm going to be talking to you about right now. Okay. You don't have to do it right now. I'm just recording this for the video, just for like a reference file. So what I'm going to do now is go to Figma and open up that file that I'm talking to you about. So it's called the Coffee Shop mobile app. I kind of messed around with this myself just to kind of introduce some new things that I'm going to share with you. Uh, so maybe it doesn't have the animation that you see here, but we're not concerned about that. I think that's not the working file, by the way. Let me just open the work file. Visual coffee. Oh, this is the design model. Here we go. So back to what I was saying. See, this is the pages for this example, this app. So you can set up these are like all screen captures. If I unlock these layers here, right? These are all images of the actual designs that they screen captured as they created this app to showcase their portfolio of how the app was designed. You can see here how the cover preview has different things like assets, icons, right? Some of the other control settings, typography, okay, typefaces, colors, okay? So these are all things that you can definitely introduce and fundamentally design to help you aid you with the app production, right? Then you have things like thumbnails, okay? And the thumbnails is again like screen grabs of some of the apps resources of some of the screen. It's like screen capturing your app and showing some thumbnails of previewing. Are these really necessary? Maybe not the thumbnails. I think that's a little too much, but if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine. The assets are important because this is where you store all your different assets for different things that you can, it's like your UI kit. Okay. So this is like your UI kit, basically. It's a separate layer called assets. And then you have your style guide. Okay. And the style guide, again, is not something that I enforced earlier, but going forward, if you're going to create an app and start accessing different design elements, the style guide essentially is like the UI kit, except what you do is you're introducing more colors and typography to the play. Okay. So I didn't want to repeat more like on Roberto's territory there, but you did learn a great deal of typography and colors in your other classes. So yes, you can definitely introduce that in here as well. So basically you're creating your type, your colors, and everything is stored nicely in here. Okay. So these are all different pages. Then you have the wireframes. And the wireframe is a very basic setup of how the app will look like. Okay. So the app looks like this. Then you have your guides. Notice how on the website that we did previously, we had 12 columns. When I look at mobile app concepts, a lot of designers stick with 8 columns. 8 is still divisible by 4, 2, or 2, 4, 8, basically. It's only, okay. So this is your split right here. So you go 2, you go 4, or you go 8. Okay. And that's how they split up this column here. Notice how these are very basic thumbnails just to showcase some of the details like maps and stuff. And lastly, you have the visual. This is the fully rendered app design. So this is obviously required of you. So what I'm looking for you to do for me is the UI kit, whether you call it a style guide or your assets. I need to see that from you for this project that you're working on. I need to see your wireframe, and I need to see your visual, your final app design, okay? And of course, your research and stuff, that goes on separately. You could do that on Microsoft Word or something like that, like your whole presentation, even make a PDF out of it, right? And your plan, like your schematic diagram, right? How everything is connected. So basically everything is set up here, as you can see in this example file here, okay? And lastly, if you want to press the play button, you can actually go ahead and play this particular example. I did make the animation myself. You might not have this version, but it just might be static, but doesn't matter. I'm going to use another example today, but this is how I made this work. This is scrollable, so you can have scrollable inbound boxes like frames. If I go next here, let's say I buy this copy. If I miss, what happens if I miss? It gives you a hint. The hint is click there. See, when people don't know for the first time, they click anywhere. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing? Click over there." It's like it's a highlights it for you. So right away, intuitively, you say, "Okay, click over there," and then you go to the next screen, right? So this is stuff that's done automatically by Figma. You don't have to do anything. It's automatically done for you. So it helps the people guide them through your process. And then you hit buy now. And then I put a order. And then I put a map here. What I did with the map is I made it interactive so you can move it around. Okay. So that's something else I can show you, how to move things around through your screen. And all the other stuff is simple navigation, click, go, click, go. Nothing different that you've done already in XD, and now you're just doing it in Figma. Okay. It's no different. It's just maybe some of the mechanics are a little off, right? So this is a good example I wanted to share with you, and this is yours to have, keep, and look at in from the Blackboard file I shared with you. Okay, all right. So enough about that. Let's go ahead and approach this from the beginning. Now I want to do the Paris Olympics app just to show you a fresh, new look. Because I never really showed you how to build an app from scratch. I know we did a website. I know we did a UI kit. I know we did some interactive components, but we never really did an actual app, especially in Figma. We did one in XD. So I figured perfect time to do it now. Although I did introduce a lot of related principles, I wanted to really show you the right approach. So in case you don't have the right idea or guidance on how to do it. Okay, so here's the screen right here. I'm going to right away go to the click on the actual artboard, and you can see here some of the artboard settings. I'm going to go and click on the layout grid instead of that. I'm going to click on instead of the grid, we're going to click on columns. Okay, and as I mentioned earlier, 8 is a very popular number. 98. Yeah, you could do 90 if you want. So eight's a popular number to go by because it does give you a nice division of 4 and 2, and of course 8 pixels. We're going to give it a margin, okay, an auto margin of maybe 20. Okay, that means there's 20 pixels here. Okay, and the gutter is also 20. So if you really think about it, it's a nice 20, 20, 20 system. All right. The color, of course, can vary. I'm going to leave it red for now, so it's nice and easily recognizable. And this is an iPhone 14, 15 Max. You can see here from the frame, it's already highlighted. So you set up your artboard, and then you set up your schematics. Okay, so now, of course, I look at my schematic, like the chart that I drew, like the boxes pointing on how the app's going to work. And we're going to go ahead and set up the wireframing right now. So I'm going to set up very basic wireframe. This is page number 1. I'm going to call this one wireframe, okay? Now, please bear in mind, this is a very simple how-to, okay? I'm going to be very quick. I'm not going to go into details, but I will cover the important, essential things that you should know. It's up to you to spend 2 hours drawing a logo. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, or finessing the typography and the colors and the alignments and all these important, intricate things. Okay, I know I'm going to leave it up to my graphic design students to do. So for now, we're just going to approach it from an overall standpoint. So I'm looking at the app right now, and I'm going to go ahead and mimic the exact approach. I'll just exit it quickly. They're gonna have to close it and then open it from scratch. So it does have the logo that comes in with a little bit of a GIF animation. Now, GIF animations do play in Figma. Okay, so we will maybe introduce a GIF animation here. If not, we'll do an image for now. We'll do a GIF after. I don't waste too much time with things that might not work. So here I'm going to go ahead and put a logo in place. We're going to get an elliptical tool. All right. I'm going to center this perfectly. The fill will be maybe whatever. I'll make it red. I'm going to, with the type tool, type the word logo. I'm going to use the scale tool and make it nice and large. Okay, so this is going to be the logo coming here. I'm on design mode here. Remember, there's prototype and design. I'm going to change the color very quickly to like white. Okay. I'm going to center these two elements here using the align tools on the top right corner here. Right. I'm also going to group these two, right click, group. You can also hit Command or Control G. So I just put the logo in here. And then there's the actual animation that takes place, but we'll just do the logo for now. The logo is going to animate for us. So we're just going to do a very basic animation with the logo from top to bottom, basically. That's what the wireframe is going to do. And the next thing I'm going to do is duplicate the artboard. So I click on the artboard. I'm going to press Command D. So I have another copy of it. This time well, if I animate the logo, it's going to go from here to there. Oops. So it's gonna animate. I want to slightly be able to see it. So it's gonna drop from top to bottom, right? So now going to this artboard here, once the logo falls, zooms in, whatever transition you want. This one here, the app has an animation. So you can have any animation, especially a lot of these, like entertainment apps, whether it's Coca-Cola or A&W or Paris Olympics. They always have some kind of an intro. Even the bank has a logo introduction while the loading screen has time to load the app. So maybe that's important that you consider doing on your app. In case you forgot it, you can always introduce it in the beginning. So I do have that happening right now. I'm going to go ahead and press Command D. This is where the logo minimizes nice and small. I got to use the scale tool. Otherwise, just keep in mind, please, there's two tools. One moves, one scales. This is your scale tool. So make sure you're in the right tool to scale everything proportionately. And this will go into the top corner here. I mean, sorry, the top center, I should say. And I would ensure that by clicking on the align buttons here in the top center. Okay, so the logo is here. I do have some icons in the top left corner. I'm going to introduce those with other circular elements just to kind of use some other. I'm going to use some gray. You can use grayscale or you can use basic color elements. That's fine. Okay, a lot of people like using grayscale for this. All right, so there's the icons there. We do have an image here. Sorry. Okay, you can just so if you click on developer mode, you can just uncheck developer mode. It's right here. There's a shortcut called what's the shortcut? Yeah, you can just take it off, right? It's a little button here. That's right. Now I do have like I'm looking at this, guys. I do have like an image overlapping the whole thing, so I will create a rectangular shape right now, and this will be the rectangle going across all the way to the bottom of the screen. Okay. This will be a nice grayed out type of rectangle. Uh, I'm blocking everything else. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to right click, arrange, or send it to the back. Okay, send it to the back. Maybe I will change the color slightly. Just so I can see the other ones. And keep in mind, when you're doing the grayscale, I mean the wireframe, you can do all grayscale, okay? I'm just gonna do colors right now to accentuate certain things. I like to have it more visual, but by all means, you guys can do all grayscale because that's what the rule book says. However, I've seen a lot of professionals introduce 2 or 3 colors with the grayscale. Nothing wrong with adding a primary, secondary color with the grayscale. It just makes it look more pizzazzy, right? So if you want to throw a red in there or blue, keep it all grayscale, that's fine. The reason why they don't like to use colors is if you're doing a preliminary design, the client doesn't know what color they have. You don't know who the client is. You're just building a prototype for any type of scenario. So if it's Royal Bank, they're gonna want blue, right? If it's CIBC, they want red. If it's TD Dominion Bank, they're gonna want green. So you have to go with the color scheme of what the corporation has. That's why you keep it grayscale neutral, so it doesn't throw them off to say, hey, that's not our color. Why are you using orange and stuff like that? So it's good to be neutral in that regard. So just bear that in mind, okay? All right, so this is it down here. We're gonna do another element below. These will be some other icons here. I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. All right, so make them a little bigger, right? So look what I'm gonna do here. I'm gonna just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. So I just did Command D, step and repeat. Okay, I'm gonna select all of them, right? And then I'm going go ahead and a lot of people like to do what's called auto layouts. Auto layouts is a nice way to organize all your layouts and designs. All you have to do for that is click on this auto layout feature. This is a new feature that Figma introduced last year. I believe it is 2023, but most people started using it this year, 2024. So if you click on auto layout, you will do some nice, cool things in relation to everything else if you do auto layout. It's like grouping the objects in a very special way, right? So I'm going to go do auto layout. I will also do like center. So the whole thing gets centered. So it groups the whole thing. And it's a nice way to put everything together. Okay. All right. So I do have my rough, keep in mind, this is like my basic wireframe design. Some of the other um, tools here, we do have like a schedule. If you look at the app, there's a schedule, a screen. I'm only gonna do the 5 screens. I know there's like probably 100 screens here because I looked at some of the medal standings. Every country has its own unique way of, you can make it a favorite. You can follow your favorite country and see their medals and stuff. It's a pretty good app. They did a good job, obviously, right? I'm sure they invested probably a couple of $1 million on this app. I'm serious. Like they probably put $1 million into this thing, right? So we're just kind of playing with the same kind of concept that designers would have pretty much done the same thing, obviously to a greater depth, right? Maybe more people involved, a team of designers and stuff. So let's go ahead and do another Command D, another concept here. And for this one, I'm going to create the actual schedule. So I'm going to just delete this and this and this. This will be I'll pick a different brighter red color. Just some design elements here for the way it's set up. So I'm going to use some boxes right now. Okay, so this will be like the date. And if you're going to use the grid properly, you start right at the edge of the grid, and you can then use everything in accordance to. So you have the grid over here, then you have the grid over there, like that. Then you have another one over here. These are the smaller settings and another one over there. Okay, so I just kind of replicated some of the design elements that I saw. I'll increase this over here, right? And then you have some of the items here, like they have the dates, they have the time. Then they have some of the events. The events are over here. And the way I'm going to group this is I'm going to group these all together as a group, right? The top ones. I will change the color of those to something else, like that. And I will use the auto layout tool, okay? I'm gonna have them all continue this way, right? And the auto layout gives you options like basically it's a wrap option, horizontal layout, vertical layouts. You can have different configurations for the auto layout tool. Because if you start doing this stuff, right, all the layout features go together. I know I went over this last week, so I want to reiterate and go over some of the important things again. These are other areas of details. So here I'm going to put some other stuff in here, maybe continue it down this way to show you some other ways to introduce your alignments and options. So for example, this will be like a little metal event. We'll have the time, the dates. I'm just going to make one very quickly. So this will be, the time is 2012. That's the time. Okay, I'm going to line this up over here. This is a surfing event. Now there is two icons here. One's about the metal, and one's an alert when things happen right underneath it. So I could pull up icons from an icon plugin finder. But I'm going to use like very simple elements for now, and later in the good model, the good draft, that will introduce some of those details if I feel like it. So maybe I'll do a polygon for this one. All right. Okay. And then, oh, the polygon goes here. It's like the amber symbol. And the metal will be over here. So the metal, I'm simply going to introduce like a little circle, right, like that. Sometimes it's better to like zoom right in there to see exactly what's happening. I'm going to match this color to be the same as that one, right? And maybe I'll copy this over here. I'm going to rotate it around like that, resize it. And this could become like a metal looking type of icon. I could maybe incorporate, these two. Remember like Illustrator, like the Pathfinder, I'm going to center them first. And then I'm going to use the Pathfinder Unite selection tool. So basically they become one icon. You can make your own icons. I don't want you to waste too much time with this. You can get icons on the internet. You can download icons, right? You can invest your time wisely on other things, right? So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out for this. Here we have the event title, which in this case, it's going to be surfing. I'm going to move it over and just type surfing, and make it all bold. And again, this is the the wireframes. You don't have to put too much detail, but if it helps you kind of understand what each one does, you could use basic elements like boxes and shapes and stuff. But I wanted to kind of take it a step further and just to show you some other parts along the way. Okay, so this will be men's bronze metal match. Okay, and this will be smaller. I'm going to use the less than greater than symbols, and I'm going to also change the font to regular instead of bold. Okay, so this will be a nice way to keep it here. Because I already did the boxes and stuff. I want to show you a little more, right? And of course, there's some other icons here for you to follow. So you could do, right, maybe another box and stuff. All right. So these are the kind of details that you can add in your app. And if you look at the app that I'm replicating here, is the Paris Olympics app. So we'll just simply do a little fast forwarded version of this now. I'm going to select this whole thing, except the background, of course. I'm going to group this. Okay. I can also, make it auto layout if I wish. If I do make it auto layout, it's going to do, sometimes it's going to mess up the layout. So sometimes you don't want to always use auto layout unless it's necessary. Okay. I like to use it on certain more dynamic elements. For this one, I'm just gonna go ahead and group it. I'm gonna do a simple group. Guys, again, select the whole thing. Okay, so right click, group selection, Command G. Okay, so the whole thing is grouped. And now very easily, I'm going to go ahead and option drag like this, step and repeat. Okay. And this is where you can go ahead and start changing your layouts and settings and stuff, right? Then you have the metals. The metals, this is the metals category. Okay. So if you want to indicate what each button does, you can double click this one and have it like highlighted to that color, right? And this one's going to be perhaps this color over here, right? So on and so forth. You get the idea, right? I can keep building other artboards and building the app as I see it. I can build the other screen looks very similar. It has all the countries listed with the metals. There's gold, silver, bronze, and a total medal count. Again, using the same method I used here, you're going to indicate what each event or country is and basically create the next artboard. Okay. Just for the sake of me replicating that, I'm going to press Command D, and this is when you make it longer. Okay. You can always drop the artboard longer. Make this longer here. Actually, I'm going to move these down here and this one over here. I want to make it like a scrolling app. So in that case, I will do the, there we go, Command D, step and repeat. Okay. So yes, you can make other artboards longer than the rest to show more information, and you can scroll through those easily. Okay. And that's how you can make a longer screen. Just extend it vertically. You can see the height of this one is basically 1500 pixels, whereas the other ones are standard at 932. So you can definitely control and leverage the height of the artboard. All right. So basically what happens next is, let's say you finish this, I end up spending another, let's say half an hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours designing, all the rest of the information, end up with 20 different artboards, right? What happens now is basically you have all your screens here laid out on the right, and this is all part of pages. It's your wireframe page, right? This is where the fun things happen, because you can right click on this page and you can duplicate it and create a second page from this. So I'm going to duplicate the wireframe to create the rendered page. So this is the wireframe, and this is going to be wireframe 2, but I'm going to call it full rendered version. Okay. So fully rendered wireframe, right? And I copied the wireframe to make a full rendered version. So you can easily kind of do this in steps. Okay. This is why I wanted to do this, to show you some of the tricks along the way. Listen, there's many ways of doing this. Whichever way you did it, that's fine. Sometimes it's good to do it individually, separately. Some people separate the files, but you can make everything in one file. The one file can have everything. You can have your wireframes. You can have your full rendered version under pages. That's why pages exist in Figma. XD doesn't have pages. You basically have to do different variations on the one screen. So this is one of many benefits Figma has over XD, and this is why Figma is kind of like the application that's going forward with this industry for now, right? Who knows what's going to happen in 5 years? We don't know which is a new app that's going to come out. The point is this: you learn one, you can transfer your skills to the next one. It's easy to learn. You just do this stuff online. You can follow me. Like we're gonna, after this is over, I can upload more videos. You guys can watch my stuff. We can keep building our networks and stuff, okay, as we go forward. So let's go ahead and do the fully rendered version. Here I'm gonna put the real logo, some real images. I'm gonna do some real design tweaks and basically create some prototyping techniques in this one. So here I kept it separate, And here I kept the full rendered version. I'm also going to save a local file. So I'm going to do a save as or save as.fig. Go to the desktop. This will be parisolympics.fig and save. This way I can upload the file onto Blackboard and you guys can have a copy of this one. All right, so let's start at the beginning. So what happens here is this logo goes away, this logo goes away, and we introduce the real logo, okay? So basically all this stuff gets replaced. And you can design it, replace it, whichever way you see fit, that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and sometimes you have to open Photoshop to crop some of the images. If it's an EPS file, you have to go to Illustrator and save it as a PNG or SVG. They're both supported. Okay. So right now, currently, I have the JPEG file. So I'm gonna go ahead and open this in Photoshop and very quickly produce a transparent PNG. I can get rid of all the white background by simply going to the magic eraser tool and just simply hit click and there it goes, right? Quick way to do it. I can then use the crop tool and do a nice crop on the actual logo. Sometimes you're not going to find exactly what you're looking for. This is why Photoshop and Illustrator can come in really handy for you to prepare your graphics. Okay, so this now would be a full, high quality, at least for the mobile device PNG file. I'm going to go ahead and save a copy right now and call this Paris Summer Olympics logo, okay? And I'll save it as a PNG right here, a PNG file, because it is an image to begin with. I can't make SVG from pixels, right? I got to redraw it, maybe find the original file and then keep it that way. So I did want to show you some of the production methods that are available to you, and I'm sure you're still, proficient in Photoshop and other programs to help yourself in editing the graphics because that's important. All right, so I'm gonna put Photoshop away now. If it's Illustrator, I would go to Illustrator, create some more vector elements, use Photoshop and Illustrator to help you, right? Photoshop I would use to crop images, maybe resize images, do some, image adjustments. You can do some color corrections, all kinds of important things. So here's the new PNG file, and here's see, this is why I couldn't work with this. Because if I bring this in, you won't have the element of transparency, right? This one I can do a nice animation and it can really create an impact on my overall screen. So it was worth it for me to go to Photoshop, spend a few minutes just to get a proper PNG file. In case you can't get what you're looking for on the internet, you can make it, okay? You always have the power to change anything, especially with the tools that you have. So I'm going to delete this old one and just keep this new logo here. And I'll go ahead and introduce all these elements into my rendered version. This is where I bring it in right here. I click on this artboard. Okay. I'm going to just rename this artboard. I'm going to call it intro. Okay. Intro 2. This will be my home page, home. And I'm going to name these artboards as I go along. So right now I have intro, intro 2, and this is the home page. So the intro is where I bring in the logo. I'm going to make sure that's selected. And if you look carefully here, you do have the place image video option at the very bottom of the object toolbar. So if you click there, you can then select the right folder. There's the right logo. And of course, you have the option to click and draw the mouse. Oops. Sometimes you have to click and drag. And yes, you resize it. You can hold shift if you like. Okay, so I'm going to go and maybe perhaps there's my smart guide to center the logo, right? I'm going to bring it right to the top, right? And what I'm going to do is this, copy the logo, click on the intro to artboard and hit paste. Once I'm pasting the same logo into the different artboard, it recognizes the difference of position, location, which is position, and all the other properties. The only difference is I'm going to move this one down here and do like an introduction, just like the app has. It has an animation of the logo coming in and then the birds running like a GIF animation. I'll be honest with you, I got to get a GIF animation to. You can just import a GIF, it'll play. Just trust me on that one. You could. You don't have to do a GIF because you have to make one in Photoshop and then bring it in. So it's not really necessary. But I know the Paris Olympics app has a GIF of the birds running with the flag, if you notice, right? So they just dumped the GIF in there. Just like I dumped a picture, you can grab a GIF and put it in here. Okay. Maybe later on if I have some time, I'll get one off the internet, put it in there. So what I'm going to do here is select this logo here and go to my image. Look at this. I'll put 10%. I don't want to put 0 because then I can't see it. So I'm going to put 10, and here I put 100. I'm also going to get rid of these columns because it's hard and distracts me from my design that I'm implementing. So we'll go to my layout grid and just hide it for now. Okay. As a matter of fact, I'll do that for all the rest of the artboards. I'm going to go just, maybe I'll press undo. This wasn't all of them. That's why. So I'm just going to hide the grid everywhere because it's coexisting. So now I'm going to have this 10%, 100%, do an auto animate. That's what the app has. When you load the app, it auto animates the loading screen. And then we click enter to enter the Paris Olympics. Okay, so we're going to do like an enter button, and then we're going to go to the main page and so on and so forth. So how would you do? So let's do the design first. We'll do the interaction second, and then we're going to pretty much wrap up the example, and then I'll get into the more advanced stuff. So this is where we enter the app. This is where there's images. So I'm going to replace this logo with this logo. So I'm going to come over here, basically paste, resize, center. Okay. Okay. These are real icons. This is a real image. So to do that, I'm simply going to click on the fill here, click on the image tab, and just look for an image that I can replace it with. Okay. So we'll go with one of these images, right? And there's a nice image that I can use for now, right? Sure. If you double click, well, it is the actual image of the artboard. That's fine. Right? You can change different images. Like, I don't know if you notice the loading screen has different images. If that's the case, I would maybe create 2 other home pages and switch different screens. That could also be like an animation that happens. So for that to happen, I got to move these out of the way and just create another home screen. I'm going to go call this home 1, do Command D, and call this one home 2. And this image here, well, let me just design this before I copy it. I don't want to repeat my work more than once. You want to be smart, right? You want to make the design and then copy. Then it's easy to change after, right? So let's just go ahead and do our alterations at this point. I can just copy and paste them afterwards as well. So what I'm going to do here is just keep the logo a little smaller, center. These icons, let's get some real icons and images to use. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and use the plugins. I did cover this in other classes. So in case you forgot, there's a lot of icons you can use from the software. So you can just type in icons. There's Icon Scout, there's Corel UI, there's all kinds of icons you can look for. I'm going to go for this one here. 9.3 million assets. Okay. I'll go ahead and skip. This is I'm just gonna go through the process here of acknowledging all these little things that are thrown at me here. These are like colorful icons, so they're not bad, but I wanted something more simple. Whatever, I can use these for now. That's fine. All right, so maybe we'll put the date here. Oh, you gotta sign up to these things and subscribe. So tell you what, I'm gonna use a more simpler one right now. I know there's a free one that's a lot easier. I'm gonna use this one here. And again, you can get icons online. I'm just gonna use the simple icons, okay? They'll do the trick for now. So I'm going to use the augmented reality. I'm gonna maybe use the little heart icon. Could be like a like thing here and there. So I'm gonna just resize this. So 49. I keep relatively the height amount here. You want to keep this on, so it gives you the perspective. So if I make this 50, the height becomes 42.63. So as long as the height's the same, all the icons can have a similar um, property, okay? Just to keep it consistent. Go with the red. This will be a different icon. So let's go ahead and use the icons again. I'm going to use the, actually, they do have a search icon for this next one. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it. Here's my search icon. I will just copy this exactly as that one and make it 50 pixels height, 50. Okay, so it's the same as the heart. You can even position it. You can use the guides, the grid, the rulers. Okay, you do have the ruler here, or the guides, I should say, from the ruler. You could align things up, okay, and measure things accordingly. All right, I do have, if you click on the artboard, you do have your layout grid options, okay? So if I do go here, right, there's the grid. All right, let's go back. Let's go replace these icons as well. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to delete these. We're just temporarily groups for now. I'm going to go ahead and put some of the icons here. So I'm going to get a picture of the little house for the home button. This will be the home button. I'm going to resize them all one time, so I won't have to waste my time. Yes, there's a shopping cart as well. Oh, you have reached the limit of the free plan. Oh, wow. They want you to pay money now. See that? All right. Tell you what, I'm going to create my own icons. Okay. So I'm just going to go with this one here. I'm going to reuse these ones just to kind of show you guys the whole thing here. I didn't know they're going to do that one on me. All right. And there's all kinds of icons you can get from other software and other programs, right? I don't know if you know this, but even Illustrator, you can copy and paste some of the icons there from vector icons if you want. I'm just going to do that right now for these, just to make it look a little nicer. So if you look at the Paris app, we're simulating the exact same design. Of course, a few differences in terms of appearance because we're missing the animation of the little birds carrying a flag. This is stuff we have to make or gather from our resources, and definitely we can get that together. Okay, so let me quickly go ahead and create a new file. Just to show you how easy it is to get icons from other programs. If you go to Window, Symbols, or Symbol Libraries, you do have the web icons in Illustrator, okay? They have been here for the past, ready? 20 years. Yes, 20 years ago, like that's how long I've been using these programs for 20 years. These icons haven't moved. When we used to make websites back in HTML 1.0, look how old these icons are, right? So maybe I'm gonna go ahead and get the shopping cart from here, okay? So basically it's very simple. This is a vector file. You can just hit copy, go back to Figma, right? And hit the paste button, right? And there it is, right? And yes, you can change it, right? You can change the actual the property once it's pasted because it is a vector file. So it's nice to know that We do have those icons. There's an actual movie reel icon as well for you to watch some of the replays and playback. So we'll paste this other icon here. There is a web option also for the websites. Maybe this will be at the end. I'll change the colors around a bit so we can identify these icons easier. Right, yeah. We'll stick with 4. I kind of like the 4 because we do have a nice column setup. So we'll do like a 4 separate icons for the app. I'm going to make the height all consistent. So I'm going to select all 4 of them. I'm going to go to the height option here. So the height is all mixed. So if I type in 50 pixels, okay, they're all going to distort the proportion. So I think you have to do it individually for now. This way the proportions will maintain. So 50 here. This will be also 50. Whoops. I guess I have to make sure this is enabled. Make sure this is your constraint proportions is on. Otherwise, when you resize the height, it will actually offset the width as well. All right, so there's my icons. And I know it's telling me they're all 30 pixels wide using the smart guide tool. But you know what I'm going to do even better is show you a quick way how to select all these 4 icons. And of course, there's other ways of leveling their positioning with other objects, outlines, borders, boxes, all kinds of stuff. But one very simple way is to actually go over here and do what's called a distribute horizontal spacing. This is a very interesting method. Okay. So it makes all the horizontal spacing even or distributes them. You can also do vertical as well. Okay. So it's a nice way to do all that. And don't forget, if you do have them on auto layouts, you do have the power to actually go ahead and change the actual even spacing. I don't know. I think I missed one by accident. I do apologize. Oh, let me just do it to take off the auto layout here. Ungroup. I think I grouped them all by accident. All right, let's try this one more time. So we do have actually all the same artboard here. Home one. I'm gonna put it all in here. There we go. I think this was outside. That's why I wasn't really registering. I can clearly always have your layers visible so you can see that everything's in the same artboard. You can easily accidentally kind of put things in the wrong place and then it won't be in the same thing. Okay. So now you can control all 4 nice and easy, evenly spaced, as many pixels as you like. You can then center all of them together as a group back and forth. You can pretty much do all these fancy things. Okay. Right. So as we go along, I'm going to do one more and I'm sure we'll get the gist of it. Perhaps I'm going to delete this one and use this background here. And all the other screens are somewhat similar. They just describe different information with events, medals, countries and favorites, videos, playbacks, and that kind of stuff. All right, so same thing goes here. How do you transfer information back and forth? I'm just going to go ahead and copy this, and this. Copy, go to this artboard, Command V. It does paste it in the same location. All right. The background of this artboard actually, I don't need really a background there. Okay, these will be like the events that I will have. I'm going to copy these icons also, right? I'm going to right click or just hit paste, move them down here. This will be the bottom icons. You could, if you want, like an old school method of doing the even backgrounds, you could do this. You can draw an actual shape because you can see the shape, how it's right from the edge there. You can cut that shape and paste it here. And when I do the same thing, I know exactly how to align these apps. This is good if you have like margins and stuff, just to avoid the advanced margin features, because there are some stuff you can do here. One is simple fix. You can use a dummy object to reference the exact positioning of the bottom. Now you can also do a sticky bottom where this becomes scrollable and this is in the center. Maybe I'll explain that in a different way, but yes, things like that you can do absolutely. There's so many ways of doing scrollable screens and windows, okay? So all in all, this is how we're going to, link the app. And maybe this will be like the home button. Maybe this will also be the home button, whichever way you want to navigate this option. Okay. So in a nutshell, here's we have the wireframe view. Here we have the fully rendered view. And this is something that you're going to be creating with the group assignment. Okay. I mean, once you have the sources and the idea, you can really put this thing together. No problem. Right. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly do a save and then do the interaction as well. Okay. So the last thing we'll do is the interactive stuff. Let's go ahead and animate this artboard to go to the second artboard, which is intro 1, going to intro 2 by default. So that means I'm going to go to prototype now. I'm done my design. Pretend I have, 20 different artboards here with different events, different things. Now I'm going to pair them all up and link them all together. So from this one, I'm going to connect it to that one. Okay. So for that, I'll go to prototype. I'm going to click on, again, click on the artboard and connect this artboard to this artboard. You see, from artboard to artboard, not a button, not an object, not an image, but one artboard to another artboard. And you're going to do, instead of on tap, you're going to go delay. That means it happens by itself, just like we did in XD. Very similar. The difference is this was done over here, whereas here it's directly here. As a matter of fact, you can also do it here too. You can do it here, or you can do it here. I kind of like this pop-up window. It gives you more a direct involvement of what's happening. So navigate to after 800 milliseconds. How long? 800? Yeah, that's about almost 80 milliseconds, almost a second, right? 800 milliseconds. So 0.8 of a second. So 800 milliseconds and navigate to intro 2. That means go from here to there. And also we're going to, instead of instant, we're going to do animate, smart animate. Smart means whatever you see different, make it happen. Now, some of the things that will happen is this: movement, opacity, scale. What else do you want? Right? Those are the most important forms of keyframing animations. Even like After Effects, advanced programs like After Effects. I think even Photoshop last semester, we touched up on keyframes. They do cover those three exact advanced framing or keyframe properties: scale, position, and opacity, which this entails to all three things. So Smart Animate basically would adhere to all that. All right, so intro, Smart Animate, that means we moved this, we made the opacity. I can even make it smaller just to prove my point. So we do scale, movement, and scale, movement, and opacity. We're doing all three things in this. So let's go ahead and do that. 300 milliseconds. Let's make it 800 milliseconds. So it's 800. So after 800, make it another 1.6 seconds. If you add 800 and 800, it's 1.6. So we're just gonna, you don't have to do any specific math, just keep it under the default setting. I'm gonna go ahead and make this smaller. Center it. Okay. And just to test my theory, I'm gonna click on this, right? And go ahead and press preview or present my thing. And once it loads, it should play, and look at that, right? You have an iPhone preview. I'm gonna go hit my left arrow key on my keyboard to play it again and again and again, just like they do it on the actual app itself. Right? So once it plays, then we decide to do the next step. You might have delay again, loading screen, and then it goes to the next page, whatever you want to happen, right? Good. And then you do have the button to interact with. All right. Perhaps if we click on the logo, we can go to the next page. We can have a start button. We can do lots of cool things. Let's make a start button, actually. We'll do a start button here, or enter, or log in, sign up, whatever you want to do. We don't have a login here. This app is voluntarily. I was surprised there's no login information. Just it's like an app. Or maybe I just forgot there was in the beginning. I just don't remember. But we do have like an enter button. So we'll create a very simple button here. And speaking of buttons, I do want to reiterate how important buttons are. So let's go ahead and make one right now. We'll make this an actual interactive button. Okay. So let's make a button. So here we go. Okay. I'm going to match the color of this to the color of the hair of the logo of that nice gold color. So I'm going to go ahead and go to design, not prototype. Click on the fill, use the eyedropper, and paint the same color for that button. And then I'm going to zoom right in there, around the corners. Right. Enter. Right. Nice and centered. Medium, sure. Okay. You know, with buttons, you want to make sure when you align everything perfectly, a lot of people like to do auto layout with buttons as well, because there's like checkboxes, symbols. I think like next week when I do my makeup class, I will do more advanced interaction with you guys, and that'll pretty much be la creme of the la creme with all kinds of variations with thing. For now, I'm just gonna keep it simple and do some other interactive stuff following. So let's just do this for now. I'm gonna make this a component right now. Okay, so go ahead, click over here. Okay, so create component. Okay, so this becomes a component. Right. There's the assets. And there's the inserting the instance. That's the original. I mean, you should keep your components separately in an assets folder, but you know, for now we'll keep the original here because this is the copy or duplicate. This is the original component. You should keep the components separately, by the way. I do want to point that out. So we'll create a section and keep my components all in that section. Okay, so basically keep this all in my section here. Okay, components, comps. Okay, just for short. There we go. So all the components that you make, you can grab all your interactive stuff in there. Very simple. You can make anything a component, an image, text, buttons, a combination of two things. I got text and a rounded rectangle, and I made both of those a component. Okay. We can do a very simple hover. Well, on an app, there's no hover. There's maybe like a tap or a click, right? So we could make a nice interchangeable click button state very quickly. I'm going to go over here and add a variance. So once I add a variance, now this will be perhaps a different color. I'm going to change it up a bit, maybe darker or lighter, like that. So I do have a variance to go with, okay? Just to show you how it works, I'll do a simple hover state, because but when you click it, it's going to go to the next screen. You won't catch it in time. So you would see a nice hover state with this one. Just to go back to that, we're going to go over here and just simply go to prototype and just connect this one to this one. And we're going to do on, while hovering, okay? Very simple type of interaction. And also when we hover, not only the color will change, but if you click on this, you enter the home page. So this will enter here. You simply drag the handle and we're going to go on tap, navigate to home one, not smart animate, but we're going to do what's called a push. Okay, and the push is going to be from the left, from the right, or from the top down. It's going to push from the top down. Like everything's going to drop down, like a transition. Okay, so when I click the button, it goes to the next page. I'm giving it a push transition. Okay, basically. And then once we're here, we can make an interactive like button, like like and dislike kind of thing. For that to happen, I'm going to go ahead and basically create a component out of that. Right click. Let's create another component. Create component, okay? And don't forget the components, once you make them, you should put them here, okay? Oops. Make sure you're in design view. Add another variant. This one here is going to be, I'll make it hollow with a red stroke, okay? So you can kind of see it. Right? So I think it's going to work. Maybe I'll make it blue and red or something like that, okay? Just different colors because it has an outline of the border. So, right, that's good, right? So there it is. Back to assets. I'm going to grab this component, bring it back here. This will be part of my design, okay? Right here. I'm not going to bother with the search button, but that's just another variation of what you want to do. These as well, you can make components out of those. You can have different things happen with them. For right now, I'm going to use them for navigation. Very simple to go to different artboards. So having said that, let's go back to this component here and make the like button work. Because I did a hover state, here I'll do like a click state. I'm going to go ahead and prototype this to go from here to there. On tap, change to property one. But if I tap it again, it's going to go back to that one. So it's going to go back and forth. Click to unlike. See, you should see two arrows going from one to the next. Whereas the hover state was really like a one-time thing. You hover, you leave, it goes automatically back to default. So just remember this. We did a whole lesson last week on this stuff. So this is when it gets a little, I know for the first time you're doing this is when it gets tricky with Figma. And once you master this, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple to do hover states, click states. I think we did the switches, we did dragging, right? We did different things, right? Now today I'm going to show you an advanced dragging technique later, how to do image carousel ones. You can literally drag and it sits and you can open up pictures like portfolios and things like that. I'll do one for the other example here. All right, so all in all, I think we're ready to go. And maybe this logo here will go back to the main screen, okay? It'll go back to this screen here. On tap, navigate to home page. All right. And this little metal, this home button will also go back to the home page, okay? So this will go to home page. The logo will go to home page. The shopping cart will go to a shopping cart. This little film reel thing will go to this page, the metal standings page. That'll be a tap icon, and the globe will go to another page that I'm going to do something else with, okay? So I'll show you all these different variations of different things. One more thing, I want to copy and paste this component here. I'm going to press copy, delete this one, and hit paste. Well, make sure you click on the artboard that you're pasting it into, otherwise it won't know. So now it should know that's the location that I want to copy and paste the little like heart icon there and there. So again, we have a very simple wireframe version, right, that we made, and we made a full rendered version, just like I promised. We did this right from scratch, because I did pull a lot of examples before to show you, and I didn't really take it from the ground up. I mean, I did, but not really in the more modern mobile fashion like this one. So I wanted to go over it again, very importantly. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this now. We did integrate auto screen, auto animate. We did a rollover. We did a tap to enter. Then we did a like button, click on and off like a switch. And then we did another navigation to another screen. We did a scrollable window. I will show you how to do a different scrollable section with different limited functions and stuff, and so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll show you the difference coming up. So let's go ahead and press play. I will share this file with you, by the way, in case you're not sure how we did it and stuff. You can always look. Okay, so let's go ahead and I think I accidentally did something wrong here. Just press cut. The button wasn't inserted in this artboard. So when that happens, just make sure you click on the artboard and then paste. Right? Cut and paste. The button was missing. I'm like, why is it missing? So when I dragged it, sometimes when you drag stuff, it doesn't know where it's going. You have to literally select the artboard and then drag it in there. Especially when I was going back and forth. Remember, I backpedaled and said, well, wait, let's make a section and stuff, and just take your time. Okay, so it won't happen. All right, so now it should work and we're good to go. That's why you pay attention to your layers and stuff here. So you have all these different screens. So you have like intro. Look, you can also do this. This is how I like to do it. Watch this. This is the last section. This is the home section. This is the intro 2. This is the intro 1. That's one way to identify everything in the right place. Because if this button wasn't there, it would not disappear. It would still be there while everything else disappeared. So that's one way to test it before you hit the play button. Okay, let's go ahead and play it again. Here we go. So the animation takes place and there's the enter button. Okay, so that means we roll over. We have a nice hover state. Okay, very good. We press enter and the whole thing slides down just like the way we want it to, right? And then we can have like the like button on, like button off, the little heart in the corner. We can interact with that. We can also, oh, look, the search button is missing. So again, that was something happened there. You can go back to the home button and play the thing all over again, and then enter again and do the whole thing back and forth, right? Now we're missing the button here, so I'm going to quickly fix it. So look where it is. It's in the wrong artboard again. Cut. So when that happens, cut it, click on the artboard, paste it. Now you know it's going to be there because it's right where it's supposed to be. Change the color. That's why testing is very important to doing these apps, right? Because if you don't test it, you don't know if it's going to work properly. And there it is. Okay, so everything is in the right place. Home button goes back to home, replays the animation, enter again. We'll go back to the and now if we click on this button here, this goes to the next screen, right? Which means this now is a scrollable icon, right? I mean, a scrollable screen. Now tell me what's wrong with this. Does this look normal or not? What do you think? What's wrong with this? When I scroll with this, what's kind of not normal about it? Sorry? Right. And then, well, it is sliding. It is sliding. If you look at the app, top stays fixed. Doesn't move. The bottom doesn't move. The only thing that moves is the middle. See? That's how you control the parallax scrolling. Actually, parallax is something else that moves in the background. But in a similar way, we can control, it's like an iframe that only scrolls here, but not, doesn't affect those two, okay? So that's how, see how we can coordinate that, and how to control these elements to be fixed in those positions. Because that's important when you're doing a presentation. Okay, so to do the next important part, we're going to click on this artboard, right? We're going to click on this, this, and this, those three icons. We're going to go to prototype, okay? And you see how this says scroll with parents? You see this? Scroll with parents? Fixed, stay in place. That means don't move, stay right there, right? Because if you stay scroll with parents, it's going to scroll with everything that's us in the artboard. You can also do sticky stop at the top of the page. This is okay, but it kind of also moves and it sticks. It's like a social media element of an array of buttons, and they stick on a certain level. I still like this one the best. Fixed, stay in place. Now with this comes something else, because if you scroll down, all this goes up, it'll interfere with the graphics. So you have to put a screen element in its place. So here's what I like to do. I like to select one of them. I like to use maybe like a rectangle attribute and simply hit a screen. Okay. And this will be, maybe I'll go to design, give it a white background fill. So it's a white background that'll cover this. You see, when it scrolls, it'll cover it. It won't interfere basically. So you can even do what's called an opacity. But let's do a 90%. See 90, you can still kind of barely see it, right? Anyways, we'll do 90%, okay? I'll do 70 to show you better. See, 70%. There you go. Now you can see it. So we'll do a screen effect, okay? So also this will be, watch this, fixed, stay in place. So this is fixed, this is fixed, this is fixed, this is fixed. So when I scroll, this won't move. This will scroll, but this won't move. So let's go see how that works. Back again, hit the play button. Let's go back to this reel here, back to the home screen. And I'm scrolling now, and notice how that's staying in place, okay? And the bottom obviously shows up eventually, but the top is not moving, it's fixed. Now, there's two ways to approach this. You can kind of leave it alone, because some apps actually do this. I've seen a lot of apps where they do have a bottom and it does move. Some apps have the bottom always there. You can have two alternatives, and I'll show you both because you might want to do A or B, right? So for that, you got to involve a little bit of more kind of strategic approach, and I will show you how to do it. But I don't like the transparency. It does interfere. So I should have made 100% white, which I will, okay? But the opacity kind of doesn't work. So let's go ahead and take care of these details. So first is this thing here. You can see the transparency wasn't really working out too well. So I'm going to go ahead and make this back to design. I'll make it 100%. 100%, so it won't interfere at all. Now, to be honest with you, this won't even matter, because option B means I'm going to scroll this in its own iframe window. Iframe window, which means it might not interfere with everything. So it might be good, okay? Because if you have a real app and you tap your finger and you drag, it'll work like an iframe. But I'll leave it anyways, okay? Just for the purpose of me doing that. And two, I'm going to, let's just test it one more time. There we go. And there we go. See how it's scrolling? Right? And it goes right to the bottom now. Well, I think I don't have these working, by the way. Okay. So that's one way to do it. Nothing wrong with this. If it works, if this is what you want, that's okay, right? You can scroll and have the buttons bottom show up at the bottom when you're done. But if you want to have something scroll window inside a window, right? Then that's a more of an advanced integration of nesting uh, frames. Okay. So that means I would make the height of this the same. Let me just make a duplicate. So I'll keep this here, right? I'll copy another one over here. Actually, I'll do it the other way around. I'll copy this one here, right? I'll rename this one iframe. I'll call it iframe because it relates to something that most people are used to. Although, it'll behave like an iframe, but it's not really an iframe, if you know what I mean. Now watch this. I'm going to select all these things. Oops, not that one. And you can lock things so you don't accidentally move. See how this is moving by accident? If you press Command L, lock, it'll lock this, so it won't move it again. See? Oh, is it lock? Lock and unlock. I apologize. Command Shift L. That's a shortcut, okay? So Command Shift L means, you won't lock the element, okay? So now, watch what I'll do with these. I'm going to select all of these. All of these. When I say all of these, I mean all of the Olympic events. I'm going to have surfing, swimming, running, volleyball, soccer, all the events, right? But I'm going to select all these here. And I'm going to put them in a frame. So what that's called is this. You can right click. It's called frame selection. Please remember this, okay? This is because there's so many variations. I understand. There's components, there's group, there's auto layouts, and then there's frame selection. Okay. Now, frame selection, think about it. It's like creating a window in a window. Okay. The other ones are good for their own purpose, but this one really makes a special way to scroll or navigate inside a window. And you'll see when I demonstrate it right now. So I'm going to frame the selection. So this now becomes a frame. Okay. I'll call it iframe. Window. Right. So now this becomes an iframe window or frame in a frame, I should say. It's going to collapse these things down a bit so I can keep track of everything. Oh, did it? Oh, I think I renamed the wrong one. Oh, no, it's right. No, it's right. Iframe window is located inside the iframe. You see that iframe? And there's iframe window. Okay. But make sure this is inside. So to make sure it's inside, you have to drag it inside like this. Oops, is it going here? I think so. Frame 3. No, it is. Yeah, it's all together. I wasn't looking at this one here. So iframe is the top. All of these are inside. Very good. How do I know? Because I can do this and everything disappears. Perfect. We're good. You gotta be careful sometimes. Easily things can happen. Now, here's the trick. Ready? This here, because I made a frame, like an iframe inside the frame. What you can do is you can resize this window, right? The reason why nothing's happening is because you didn't put on clip content. If you clip content and you do this, it'll basically act like a mask. You see that? It's like a mask. So if this helps you do this, make sure you clip the content. So when you make a frame from objects, make sure it's inside the same window. You clip it for this to happen. So then you select the whole frame, you grab all your icons, basically you move everything here, okay? And you make this the same height as the other frames, right? The same height. So basically you don't even have to do what I did. You could have just done this from the get-go. You didn't have to do longer than shorter. I'm just showing you different things, right? So I had to do backwards, reverse engineering kind of thing. So basically now you have all these different ways of doing it, right? And to make sure these are aligned properly, I will, there we go, right? Perfect. Now, what makes this window special is because I clipped it. Look, if I don't clip it, it's gonna go out, right? Even this one, right, is also clipped. So by default, all these windows, if they're not clipped, that's what you'll see. So make sure they're clipped. By default, they're clipped. So make sure this is clipped. Make sure this is also clipped. Because look, even this one's also clipped. If it's not clipped, you know what's going to happen? This image will go on the outside like that, you see? But if it's clipped, it cuts the picture, you see? So make sure you clip the windows. You understand? Okay, so I'm going to press undo, undo, undo. I don't want to mess up my design here. You get the idea, right? Clip. And this is also clipped. But also on the other note, what's special about this one is under prototype, okay? Scroll with parents, and also I'm gonna go here and do vertical. So basically I'm giving this because I know there's 4 of these down here. I'm telling it to overflow vertical scrolling. That means it'll scroll from the window in the window. Get it? Last week I did horizontal, remember? Last week we did an image gallery. I did a one that went that way, and I did a horizontal scrolling. Watch the video from last week, you'll see what I mean. But this one we're doing a vertical approach. So now we'll leave it like that. This goes here, this goes there. And maybe the shopping cart will go back here, just to go back. Okay. Well, let's test it. Right? Enter. Look at that. See how it's scrolling? And the buttons stay fixed. The buttons on the bottom stay fixed. The only thing that scrolls is the iframe that we made. And then you can click these to go to other pages. You understand? You just have to make the other pages. You just repeat, 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 right? So all this stuff works nicely once you put the design and emphasis into it and all the details. And pretty much that's what it's doing. I think I messed this one up a bit. It's skewed, so we'll just have to fix it. And of course, this goes back and forth. Now you can also scroll the direction of this if you want. I think this one, for example, maybe we'll go up instead of down. I'm going to copy this and just basically paste it. We got lost on by accident. Let me see what happened here. Let me copy and pasting. So copy. I'm going to lock this one here. Unlock. Lock and unlock. There we go. Did I do it here? I think I did it here. There we go. Lock and unlock. Perfect. There's the icon heart. There's a Paris Olympic. There's that rectangle that's locked. This one's messing me up. So I'm just gonna get rid of that rectangle. Okay. It's causing a lot of problems. So copy again. Paste. Okay. So now it's gonna work fine. Okay, there we go. Perfect. And over here, I'm gonna delete that rectangle because it doesn't serve purpose anymore. Just gonna hit paste again. Whoops. Yeah, press Command F by accident. Command V's paste, of course. Right. With this window, I'm going to show you something else. Okay. So I'm going to go through like an image gallery process and then we're going to wrap it up there for now. But this is enough to kind of show you the steps, at least, in case you didn't get the right, because I know I showed you different methods of doing this. I wanted to kind of capsulate everything into a simple method so you don't overcomplicate your projects. So keep it simple, effective. It's the design that's going to make this work. It's all about the design and the choices you make with the UX, UI in mind. And of course, the interaction. Don't make it overly complicated. Simple clicks and navigations will work. Simple scrolls like this, fixed in place. Okay. So let's just now test it again. I'm going to do another save. And like I said, I'll upload this after to give you the demo. Right, so enter, like, unlike, subscribe. And then we have this button here, which goes up. Very good. We have an iframe built in. Okay. We have that to go back, this to go forward. This will go to the other section. This goes back here, and this goes back to home. Right. And this goes back here again. All right. So as I promised you, I'm going to show you the interactive carousel next, okay? Which is a group of images. This can be good for your portfolio. You're not doing a portfolio anymore in my class. Remember, we stopped that last semester. The students ended up doing too many portfolios. Let's do a prototype of a portfolio. Then they did a portfolio website. Then they did a portfolio in InDesign. They did like 5 portfolios. I think you had enough for this. You're better off doing an app instead of a prototype of a portfolio of an app. You understand? Because your portfolio, you're going to show it on a website. The best way to have your portfolio is online. Okay. If you ask me, have a website. Just put a website up, buy a domain name, put a website up. I would use Felicia's class as a prime example. Put up a website, put your portfolio up there, go to Behance. Okay. Open up an account, go to other social media platforms, put your work out there, LinkedIn. Okay. Those are the platforms you're looking for. There's some other ones that maybe I haven't heard about that you guys think that's cool. That's fine. But that's what it's at. For the prototype is good to showcase that you can do for an app, okay? Not for your portfolio. That's why we didn't bother with this. All right, but let's go ahead and discuss what happens if you do have like a portfolio gallery of not just a portfolio, like a product page or an Olympic event scrollable portfolio of some kind, right? So for that, I'm going to make another icon, go to that page. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to just delete this option here, right? And create another artboard from this one. So I'm going to press Command D and make a copy. I'm going to delete the iframe, okay? Because here we're going to put another component that does like an interactive image gallery, okay? This will include some of the other images, and this button here will go to this artboard, okay? This will go back home. And this will go back home. I'm just double clicking and make sure all the parameters work out. That goes home. This goes back here. I guess that can go back there. This goes here. And this one can go over here. Okay. The globe icon can go over here. On tap, navigate there. So when we go here, what happens is we'll do like an interactive image gallery. Now I need some more space. So I'm going to move this over like that just to get some more space. And I'm going to call this gallery. Gallery. Okay. And the gallery will go exactly like that. And here we have a series of images that scroll through. I'll review the, I know I did the vertical scroll. I'll show you another example of a horizontal one, just so you can kind of pair it up with last week's lesson and see the difference between vertical and horizontal. And maybe I'll do like one with a map. You can scroll through a map and stuff, just to show you all direction type of interactive thing, right? For that, I'm gonna grab a map on Google maybe and bring it in. I can do either or, right? But let me not get ahead of myself. Let me just do one thing at a time here. So we did the vertical. We know how to do that. Let's do the map. Might as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and draw. Get a map first. I'll go to Google right now. Google Maps. All right, and we'll get a picture of where we are here, right? Look at all my favorite places and stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit Control Shift 4. Do a screen capture. Look at this. A screen capture of the map. And you can get an actual map that you created and insert that into this component. So I'll show you how to do a map component. Okay. And the map, I'm going to go to click on the gallery here. Okay. Click and drag. Okay. So there's the map. I just brought it in. But I'm going to put it inside a box. Okay. So we'll create like an actual picture box. So I'm going to delete the map and draw like a box and put it inside like a box perimeter, right? So to show you, I'm going to draw a rectangle like this. And this rectangle will keep the map inside, like a real map on a phone. I'm going to go ahead and center it around the corners a bit just to make it a little more sleek. And then click on this rectangle that I made. I screen captured a real map on the internet. Watch how easy this is, okay? I'm going to go back to fill. Instead of a color or a gradient, I'm going to go to image. I'm going to choose an image, go to the desktop, pick up a screen capture of the map and bring it in like that. See? Right? If I double click, right, there's the map. Let me do frame selection. There we go. Right. Okay. If you want to bring in a map like the way I did, that's fine. But if you want it to be scrollable, I think there's one step I missed. I gotta do one more tap. Okay, so just pardon me, please. I gotta. Sometimes even I get overwhelmed with all this stuff I gotta do. So let me just delete it. Let me do it one more time. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and place the map first. Let's go ahead and bring the map. So bring the map in, right? Bring the map. As you can see, the map is covering the whole screen, and that's okay. It's supposed to, right? Okay. I purposely made the map bigger so it covers the whole area like that. Like that. There's the map, right? Remember, like the iframe, I'm going to make a mask so the map can only be visible in a little window so we can scroll through it like you would on your phone map. So to do that, make sure you place it properly like the way I did. So it's here basically. Here's the map is inside the gallery layer. Let me call this map. Map. This is the map screen here. Okay. What I'm going to do is basically click on the map, draw another rectangle like this, right? And watch this. I'm going to shift, select the map. And the rectangle, make sure I select it properly. And then frame selection. Let me just undo it again here. I'm missing one small step, guys. I apologize. Okay. Okay, you know what's happening here? Instead of drawing a rectangle, I'm going to draw a frame. There's the frame. And put the map inside the frame. That's right. Okay, so basically this has to go in here. There we go. Okay. It wasn't indenting for me. That's why it wasn't kind of going in the map like that. See, now look, it's clipped and unclipped. You can see the whole thing. If you want to do it easier, maybe it's better if you do it outside and then drag it in. I prefer to do it this way, but whichever way, make sure you draw the frame first and then you add it after. Just like I did with this window here. Did I draw a rectangle? Do you guys remember? Or did I draw a frame in here? Who can remember? It was a frame, right? I think I drew a frame and then I went frame selection, correct? That's what I did. So do the same thing here, okay? And once you frame that, it should be all good to go. You know what? I'll just try it one more time very quickly. Here's the point I'm trying to make. Once you map this and get in there, and you clip it, make sure you clip it, right? So now it's inside the map artboard. Okay. When you go to prototype, here's the trick here. Both directions. You know, when horizontal, vertical, like if I do vertical, right, and I press play, what you're going to get is the map only going this way, vertical, see? Like this, see? Like that, up and down. But if I go, and horizontal means horizontal, but if you go both directions, as long as the map exceeds the parameters of the board, it'll scroll. So just make sure that's what you do, okay? Let me go ahead and test that as well. There it is. So now I'm able to scroll through the map like I'm actually going through and looking for something in the phone, see? So it's a cool little feature that you can do inside your screen, okay? Let's go back here and we go over here. This becomes an actual scrollable thing, and this goes the map, and the map becomes scrollable, goes back to the home, and it goes back here and there. Right? Just quickly try something here just to get this map thing sorted out. So here's another picture. Let me just do a simpler version. Here's a map, okay? No frame, just a map on its own, right? Like that. You draw a rectangle in the map, and you go frame selection. Because I'm sure you can do it both ways. I just want to make sure I don't misguide you guys. Yeah, you know what? Draw a frame. Don't bother with this just to be on the safe side. Sometimes I like to use rectangles as masks and frame them. Just what you want to do is put the map in here or whatever, right? Put the frame. So I'm going to draw a frame now. The frame, watch this. I'll draw a little frame like this. Okay, see that? Once the frame is on top of, it's like a mask, you know, a frame and the map. You select both of them, right? Make sure you frame selection. Whoops. Make sure this is inside, this is inside the frame. This is frame, okay? This is the map. Sorry, this is the whole frame. There, picture, no frame. There's an easier way to do this. Here's a frame right here, right? You ready? You move this inside like that. You see that? Look, you move inside, wait, and let go. It goes inside like that. You can also cut and paste, whatever is easier for you to conceptualize. I wish it was an easier way, you know, but I think you can just, I think frame selection worked too. The way I did the vertical ones was pretty easy. I think I did a frame. Yeah, I think I did a frame basically. Yeah, I did frame selection. You know why it was easy? Because I had multiple items selected. As soon as I framed them, they all became a frame, and I just resized it. But this is trickier because it should be easier because it's one item. Literally drag it, or just make sure it's this. Make sure the frame situates the map like this. You see what I mean? Once it's set up like this, see this like this, put it inside, right? Well, once you have the map set up and you can do what's called clip or unclip, you see that? Once you have this, it becomes a scrollable item. Then this can go in here. I can delete this, get it? Then this can go inside here like that. I can resize it and I can have a frame inside a frame. Do you get me? So you can move one in the other. You just have to be very attentive to how you do it. Okay, it'll work the same way. You make sure you clip it, prototype, um, both directions. So then the map becomes an interactive component. And here we go, right? Then we go back here, here, over there, and over here. Okay. Um, I'm going to show you one more, okay? One more. The image gallery, and then we're done for the night. And then next week, when I do like the makeup class, or not makeup class, the earlier class, I'll do some advanced. And you can watch those videos if you want to get ahead of the game. It, again, you don't have to use that stuff in this project, but I don't want. I just want you to know the latest of Figma. So the latest stuff is pretty good. You can do a lot more instances with behaviors and stuff. For those of you that are more advanced than the others, you might find it more interesting. This is all good. Like doing this prototyping for an app, this can go as far as you guys presenting it and getting the actual project. This other stuff is a little advanced. If it entails or is required for you to do that, then I want you to be able to do it. Okay. But this stuff goes a long way. This is like 90% of the knowledge that you have. You can make a whole app like this. Okay. Tap, scroll, drag. Okay. Horizontal, vertical scrolling, all that stuff. Okay. Now, one more. I'm just going to do this in a prototype sense. So we have the wireframe, we got the full render view. For this one, I'll duplicate this again, the map. I'll do Command D. I'll set it over here. I'll delete this map. I'll do a different type of scrolling. Okay, this will be like the image gallery thing. So for this one, like I said, it's easier when you have multiple things. So let me show you what I mean. I'm gonna go ahead and drag. Maybe I'll create it here first, and then I'm gonna move it here after. Okay, so I'll put it on a separate screen. This will be comps one. Okay, so I'm gonna put it up here, and then I'll move it over. Just close that Illustrator. All right, so let's go ahead and grab those images. The Paris Olympics. I'm going to use 3. Okay, so here's the 3 images. 1, 2, 3. I didn't want to grab all of them at once, so I'm going to do one at a time. Well, first I'll do this. I'm going to create an artboard. I'll create a frame. Watch this. I'm going to create a frame, right? And in this frame, I'm going to measure it, make sure it's the right size. I'll fill it a different color, right? Like that. And once I fit it properly, this frame will be my interactive gallery for my images, okay? Like that, just like the map. Maybe I'll match the same size as the map dimensions, okay? Doesn't have to be actually. I'll just make it like this bigger. Okay, so I'm going to move this over here now that I mapped it. And this is a frame. It's a frame, right? So I'm going to go ahead and drag, get some rectangles in here. So I'm going to draw rectangle 1. Rectangle 2. You can see rectangle 2 slightly. And you can see rectangle 3. But you can't see 3 because this is clipped. Let me just do this one more time. So there's 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me just do it this way. Sometimes, remember, it gets a little stubborn. Make it long enough. So when you go like this, you can do as long as you want, right? As long as they're all inside this frame, you know for a fact it's going to work. I'm going to make this a little shorter right now, like that. And watch this, clip. See, when it's clipped, it's hiding the images, right? Like that. And now I'm going to put the images in there. I'm creating an image gallery, right? Now, image galleries can go both ways. You can just go as simple as a drag thing or an automated click, drag, drop thing. Like it's locked, right? So I'm going to grab this one here, the fill, go to image, choose the image. I'm going to go to my Olympics here and go with this first image. There we go. Maybe not the best one. I'll go with this one, right? this image here. Okay. Perfect. Same thing, fill, image. I'll pick the other one, right? Good. This one. You got to deselect, reselect to select the other ones. And then I'll do one more here, right? So 3 images. Just change the color to the image. So you can easily transfer your grayscale pictures to image gallery pictures. Now, don't forget, you clip the content. So this is a frame that holds these images together. That's how it is. How do I know? Because look, they're nested inside the layers panel. This is one good way as a designer to keep your layers organized. Okay, so now let me change the color of this back to, let me make it black so you can really, really see it. There we go, right? And if I put it here, it's gonna look kind of nice, right? Like an image gallery, whatever. Now, how does it work in theory? It works like this. Clip the content, right? Bring the frame to the inside the other frame. Rename this gallery, and you're done. You can do that. You can basically go like this, and the gallery could be, let me just make this one go here, right? There we go. Gallery go there. Okay. But then you have to enable this on the prototype to do horizontal scrolling. So we exploited every available option. Remember we did vertical scrolling with the standings and the medals, right? With the map, we did both scrolling. This one, we're constraining it to horizontal scrolling. So what that means is when you press play, you're only going to be able to scroll sideways. Like you have a phone, like I'll show you the Olympic app. It actually has exactly that right now. So if I go to the app to show you, look, I'll show you, see these videos here? Look, you see this? Look, you just scroll left and right. You see that? That's what the app has. So there's nothing wrong with doing this. But if you want to have more control, there's another way. And that's the way I'm going to show you the difference. So here we go again. You click here, you go over here. This is vertical scrolling. The map has vertical and horizontal scrolling. And this has only horizontal scrolling. You understand? So one's vertical, one's horizontal, and the map is both. So like I said, this is okay too. And then this, if you click, it'll go to another thing, okay? So I'm going to double click on this now and do what's called a prototype on tap. I'll do this picture here, right? On tap. Just see here. I'm going to bring in the bigger image. I'll see if this works, right? So we're going to make this a little smaller. You know what? Maybe I'll do a different image just to kind of show you the difference. Otherwise, you won't see it. I'll bring this image when it's clicked, okay? So I'm going to zoom in, take this off. This one, I'm going to tap that one. Oh, it's got to be a behavior. I got to make this a component. So I'm going to press create component, okay? And this one here will go to that component. So navigate to basically make this image show up. Not on tap. So on tap, open overlay. Open overlay is how they open images on websites or on apps. You know, the image takes over, like your picture gallery, you click, it opens the picture. It's called the light box effect, okay? We should do a CSS JavaScript to do that. So this is what that does. So remember, it's on tap, overlay, okay? Basically open this picture, instantly center it. You can do top, left, top, you can change the positioning and close when clicked outside, okay? So that means if I click on this, it's gonna take over the whole picture. And you can do that with any one of those thumbnails. You get it? So let me go ahead and press the play button here and to demonstrate that. Hope it works because usually I have to make two components to make that happen. So go in, go there, vertical scrolling, okay? This is all out scrolling. This is horizontal scrolling, right? And look what happens when I click on this picture. It opens the bigger picture, overlay. Now, you have to size it properly, right? I just picked a random image and it works. If I click outside, the image disappears. It says when clicked outside, disappear. So this is a gallery and I made this picture here, open that overlay picture. So you would strategize that to be your splash picture. Do you understand? Like your portfolio gallery. My students did portfolio with this. So they would click and their projects would show up and then they would put a little X or click away to have the picture disappear. Or you can dim out the background to 50% black. You understand? So that's the stuff you can do. Now, you don't have to do this if you don't see it necessary, but you know how to do it, right? Now, I'm looking at the clock here. It's almost 9 o'clock. Next week, I'll do the more controlled way with the advanced components. That's the only thing I have left to show you, and we'll wrap this up, okay? But all in all, I think I gave you a good kind of like a overhaul approach on how to do this. You still have 2 weeks, eh? So even if you haven't, or you have started this, or you haven't started this, you have all the tools now that I feel confident that you can go ahead and make this happen, right? Okay, all right. All right, so thanks for watching. Sorry to drag this over almost to 9 o'clock, but it was one of those lessons. I wanted to make sure we cover everything from head to toe. We did the wireframe, we did the full render version, all from scratch. We simulated the Paris Olympics app. The only difference is the details, of course. That took a team of perhaps a dozen, if not more people, and I'm sure countless of hours, which we can do if we had the time and resources, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this recording now, and I'll see you guys in the next class, okay? So next class, we're starting at 12 p.m. Wednesday, and because I'm not gonna be here in the evening, so I'll see you guys then. All right. I'm gonna stop the recording and see if you have any questions.